If you're listening to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast and you don't believe that there are deals out there, that is your sound barrier. That is your problem right now. There are, in fact, deals out there. You have to know how to find them, dealhunter.io, how to fund them, dealhunter.io, how to fix them, dealhunter.io, and how to flip them, Zillow. God, that hurt. Oh,
I thought you were going to say Deal Hunter.
So did I, but I didn't. Okay. So guys, listen, we do these mindset shows because these, in my opinion, as much as we discuss the intricacies of doing a real estate deal, the most value I can give to you as your foreclosure deals coach is I can get in your head and stop you from not taking action. I can force you from inaction to action.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
Turn it up.
Welcome to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast.
The tides are turning. The time is now.
Your home for the mindset, methodology, and tools needed to invest in foreclosures.
Don't you dare buy a house. Buy a deal. You need to get into this right now.
Yeah.
And now your host, the Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donny Corum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. This is your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donny Corum, broadcasting live from our downtown Denver studios with my executive producer and all-around badass, Mr. Jonathan Winston. What up?
Man, you know, I'm feeling good, man. Like always, man, I don't know if y'all noticed, but not too much gets me down. I'm always in a good mood.
You're always happy. Is that because are you high a lot? Like, just
I'm in Colorado, man. So you know my wake and bake schedule is pretty consistent. But you know that's neither here nor there. You know I'm high off life too. It's like a good mix.
You got to do you, man. Like
yeah.
as long as you're happy with it. You know, and it is a cool thing about living in Colorado, where that whole stigma attached to like pot is just like not here.
We're productive, bro.
We are. We get way more done than most people, and you know, like we can be.
I'm stoned.
A little stoned from time to time.
Right.
I see nothing wrong with it now. All right.
Deal Hunter. Be on the lookout in that.
I know that's coming. It's coming.
Y'all don't know nothing about that.
Don't tell them yet.
Deal Hunter. Just remember that.
It's going to be interesting. All right. This show, speaking of Deal Hunter, was brought to you by dealhunter.io.
Okay.
The leading resource for locating real estate data for investors without having a real estate license. See, here was the problem just a few years ago. When I was coaching years ago, I was trying to help people to become real estate investors in their local market, but to get access to the data that was available, you had to go out and get your real estate license. You had to do all the courses, pay your licensing fees. We're talking a good time investment of 90 days, maybe 120 days, and several $1,000s until now. See, with the dealhunter.io application, you have instant access to the same real estate data that real estate agents have had access to for years, and it goes well past just housing data. See, I was going to run a campaign in a neighborhood, and I wanted, before I found a wholesale, to find some potential cash buyers in the neighborhood so I knew how I'd sell the house to in case I didn't want to buy the house myself. I went right there into the PropStream application that you can get at dealhunter.io. I found a list of cash buyers who had bought properties in the past year in that exact neighborhood, and within minutes, I had located all the data I needed to start a successful campaign to buy houses and be able to wholesale houses to people in any neighborhood, anywhere in the United States of America with a few clicks of a mouse. And dealhunter.io adds the added benefit of letting you have a community of fellow investors who will help you to use the software, featuring yours truly, your foreclosure deals coach, where I will walk you through with a free 15-minute deal hunting session using PropStream right in your local market just for signing up at dealhunter.io. I do not want to hear that you can't afford the $97 a month after the initial investment in the PropStream. It doesn't make any sense. If you're serious about becoming a real estate investor, you must have the right tool, and trying to do real estate investing without this data is like trying to fly a plane with a blindfold. It's just not a good idea.
Let's look at it this way, guys. So it's like, it's $97 a month for the PropStream app. So say you're trying to figure it out. I don't know if I have the money. If you put that $97 down, that gives you 30 days to put the pedal to the metal.
Yep.
Listen to all the information you can. Watch as many YouTube videos as possible. Come and talk to us in the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insider Group and get a deal done. So in potentially 30 days, you can have paid back that $100 investment 10, 20, however many fold, as much as you can get on that deal. So it's really just about taking that massive action and getting to it.
Absolutely. So no excuses. Get out there, go to dealhunter.io and join the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders Group. Let me know when you signed up, and we will do our free 15-minute deal hunting analysis session. And once a week, we just do a random deal that we're working on, and we record that and put that in the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders Group so you can see the PropStream tool in action, doing deals in markets all across the country. We've been focusing on Colorado Springs because that's where I'm buying. But as our group membership grows, we're going to do deal analysis all over the country and really show you how this tool be put to work for you. Okay, let's get to our article of the day. It is landlords could lose as much as $21.5 billion in rental payments as eviction wave begins. So a few months back, as you may recall, the government stepped in and said because of coronavirus and the massive loss of jobs, we're going to prevent people from being able to evict people out of their homes. And this huge alliance of renters marched in and said, yes, finally, these evil landlords. I don't even know if this is good news, to be honest with you. But
no rent for 3 months? What do you mean? This is great news.
Yeah, sure. It was great news unless you're a landlord, for the love of God. So these poor guys, right, if they still have to keep making their payments. Here's the thing. I know for a lot of you who are just getting started out financially, it seems like the landlord's this big bad dude who's just loaded and he's driving around in his Ferrari and et cetera. That's not usually the case, okay? There are exceptions to that rule, but I can tell you that most landlords are mom and pops who saved up the money to buy an additional property, probably lived in that home that you're in right now at some point, and then saved up to buy a second home that they live in now, and they've got that mortgage payment, and they got the mortgage payment on the house that you live. And in exchange for doing so, they make a little bit in positive cash flow, but more importantly, they are generally building their retirement through real estate investing. It's an extremely smart play, but these are not rich people, okay, most of the time. So now $21.5 billion is about to be lost as these poor landlords can have people they have to evict out of these homes who have gotten kind of used to not making payments over the last couple of months with this coronavirus scandal, right? And because of that deal, they don't want to make rental payments going forward, and the landlord's going to be left holding the bag. And I got to tell you, I feel just horrible for these people who may lose their life savings in the form of real estate because of a system that allowed people to not make payments on the home they are rightfully occupying and should be paying for. And I know this is going to turn into a big debate on the show where, you should care about people who have lost their livelihood and can't afford to pay rent. Listen, I'm going to shoot straight with you, right? If you're in the back of my Uber, right, and you tell me somewhere in the ride that you can't pay me, I'm dropping your butt off wherever we happen to be standing at the moment.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? As soon as you can't pay for the service rendered, you're getting out. Period. The end. And you would feel that way if you were an Uber driver. You would feel that way if you were a taxi cab driver. Hell, you'd probably be okay with it if you were an airline pilot. Hey, man, I know we're halfway through this flight, bro, but, I just checked my wallet. Turns out I can't pay for this ticket. So
first of all, where is the ticket checker at the front of the plane? How did you get on the plane? Right. Second of all, I'm going to pull an exit door, so you're going to need to find a parachute or...
Right. This is no different. These landlords earn the right to collect their rent, and now a lot of them are going to lose $21.5 billion in an industry that, believe it or not, is not filled with rich people who can afford to lose $21.5 billion. Okay? That is absolute reality. I'm a landlord myself. I own 7 different properties, and I can tell you that if I had to pay the mortgages on all these properties, thankfully, my tenants, most of them were pretty cool, and those that were not cool made up for it later. They paid their rent eventually. I did not have any problem with that, but I was blessed, and a lot of people simply weren't. Okay, so I just shout out to the landlords out there. I got you, man. If you guys need some help, I'm not going to be able to pay your mortgage or anything, but if we can talk about some strategy about how you can get out of this situation, maybe sell the house, whatever you got to do, hop into the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders Group. Let's discuss. Okay. Today's show is going to be more of a mindset thing, and we're titling the show Breaking Your Sound Barrier, because the story goes, as a young child, you should know that I had a bit of an obsession with flight, okay? I had a pilot's license at 16, But even prior to that, I I wanted to be an astronaut growing up. And not that I was deterred from this, but in the third grade, as many of you may remember, it was 1981. There was a huge explosion, the Challenger explosion, that killed all the astronauts on board. I was watching that. My teachers and most of the students in my class knew I wanted to be an astronaut because I publicized my goals with everybody. Like I was walking around as a little third grader. I want to be an astronaut. Hey, I want to be an astronaut.
He hasn't changed, guys.
Nothing has changed. That's been my life, right? So I was sitting up front. We watched this Challenger explode. I was in tears. I was deeply moved by, the loss of those people. But I was undaunted from becoming long-term. My vision of becoming a pilot and ultimately astronaut was not deterred from that. I continued it. This is to fast forward and say at 16 I get my pilot's license. I graduate from high school at about 17, and I was invited to a conference with the incredible and still living Chuck Yeager. Now, Chuck Yeager is the pilot that in 1947 broke the sound barrier. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, because aviation is not as cool as it once was, the sound barrier is the place in which you are traveling faster than the speed of sound, and it happens at approximately 719 miles per hour. Well, it's 1947, okay? Jet propulsion engines are just kind of coming into their own, and everybody who attempted this up until this point either, it crashed and died, or the plane exploded and died, and generally speaking, people died attempting this, okay? But a young Chuck Yeager, who was born in 1923, so he's 24 years old, he's on his launch pad, he's talking to everybody, the scientists, he's talking to, aeronautical engineers, and they're figuring out a way to break the sound barrier. He did so in an aircraft named the Glamorous Glennis, named after his wife.
What a sweet guy.
Is that pretty cool? And that plane is in the Smithsonian Museum right now. It's parked there. You can go check that out. And he broke the sound barrier in 1947, breaking all history records. And now we don't even call it the sound barrier anymore. We call it the speed of sound. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's the point of today's show, because you're listening to this show, I hope, to get some education about becoming a successful foreclosure investor. We teach how to find, fund, fix, and flip your way to success in real estate investing without needing a real estate license. You're going to need some great tools, right? So there's some expenses there, but you don't have to go through all the process of getting a real estate license. You can do this without. And this is not to say that I dislike real estate agents. I also coach agents on how to become a foreclosure specialist right there in their local market and serve investors in that marketplace. So I'm kind of a two-pronged approach here, but today I'm talking to you investors here specifically about breaking your own sound barrier, because most agents are well ahead of where you're at. They got a real estate license. They had to study it. They had to learn the contracts, right? They had to go through the process. Jonathan, you got your real estate license. How was that process? Did you enjoy that?
It was tedious, and
Yes.
it was like a lot of words just seeming to almost run together when you're reading through all these pages and flipping through the books and clicking on the quizzes online. So it's a lot of work. I mean, it's worth it because I'm definitely have gained some knowledge, and like you said,
Sure.
I'm equipped. But hey, it's a
lot of work.
It's a lot of work, man. A lot of reading.
Yep, and that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to go through it, not because they're lazy, but what I figured out, and I think what you'll figure out, is there's two sides to this real estate piece. That's the retail side, which requires a real estate license because you're representing retail buyers and sellers in buying or selling a home, and you just have to have a license to do that. States require that, right? And then there's this wholesale or investing side where you're looking to buy properties under market and sell them at a profit, either to a cash buyer in the form of an assignment fee. You go from wholesale to cash buyer and you make your fee in between, or you're looking to purchase a property, fix it up, and sell it on the retail market, and you make a profit that way. In either case, you don't need a license to do the latter. What you do need is a whole lot of mindset pieces, though. You've got to figure out how to break your own sound barrier. And I am certain that when Chuck Yeager, who I had the pleasure to meet just shortly after high school, he did a book signing, and he was in a movie called The Right Stuff. And he was basically, they went over the chronicles of how this guy set out to do something amazing and broke the sound barrier, and it required a great piece of the right stuff. Do you have the right stuff?
Hi, this is Donny Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. It's important to have good credit when you're buying a foreclosure. A lot of people think you can come in with bad credit, but the fact of the matter is you need pretty stable credit scores to buy a foreclosure deal. So how do you find out how to increase your credit? Well, there's tons of credit repair agencies out there and multiple formulas, but one thing we found that works is reporting your monthly rental payments to the credit bureau. We've partnered with rentreporters.com, the leading provider of adding your payment history direct from your landlord onto your credit bureau scores, and it's helping people to boost their scores up to 40 points in as little as 30 days. So to get started, I want you to head on out to www.foreclosuredealscoach.com. Now that's a messenger bot, and you're going to use the keyword rent to get more information about Rent Reporters and how you can boost your credit score by getting your rental reported to the credit bureaus. Once again, Donny Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Check it out.
And if you're asking yourself that question now, you may not be ready yet, but if you're just not sure, you think you're on the way to having the right stuff, let me give you some keys that are going to make it. Because a big part of the Foreclosure Deals coaching product is that we're going to help you with the mindset, methodology, and tools to make you a successful foreclosure investor. But I can tell you the methodology is generally contracts and paperwork, and I'm not trying to downplay the importance of it. You need to understand it, but we help you with that, and it's generally not rocket science, unlike, breaking the sound barrier, for instance. Right?
Literally rocket science.
That would literally be rocket science, right? The tools, dealhunter.io, having the access to the right data is one of the most critical tools. So we're going to go over how to effectively use that tool, but that's also not really rocket science. Where it gets difficult is the mindset. Right? And the mindset piece is what's stopping you from taking action right now. Listen, here's the thing. We know about our show stats, okay? And we have several thousand people who download the show each and every single week. They're listening to the show, and I have to tell you, as a guy who, like any podcaster out there, I'm literally in a podcaster support group, and you can hear people going, I just don't know if anybody's listening. I don't know if it's working.
Hello.
Right? And they get very I posted my numbers, like how well we were doing, and I got kicked out of one of the groups.
Wow.
Like you can't really talk about your numbers like that, bro. Like people will get suicidal. Like he wasn't kidding. Like he was not joking. He's talking about how people are so focused on their numbers, but we know our numbers. We're doing very well, but the reality of it is a lot of you are listening and not taking action right now. And I get it. You don't have money. You don't have enough knowledge yet. You're not sure, yada, yada. I can tell you getting started is really 2 clicks away. Click 1, dealhunter.io, register for a free 7-day trial, get the software. Click 2 is join the Facebook group. Right? And if you can get both of those things done, you're going to be so much further ahead. But your sound barrier is all of those limiting factors that are stopping you from doing it. So for some of you, it's your family. It's your spouse. I have to tell you that when I was my previous marriage, my wife was my ex-wife was my sound barrier. Right? Because every time I pitched a concept or an idea related to real estate investing, she would tell me about how it couldn't be done. And you are probably, whether you know it or not, you may be surrounded by your own piece of negativity right this moment. I am not telling you to run out and get divorced. That's not what I'm encouraging you to do. I'm encouraging you to evaluate what are your limiting factors right now. Because when Chuck is walking around that launch pad and he's telling people, I'm going to take this plane past 719 miles an hour, a lot of them were saying, hey, man, it was really nice to have met you.
Yeah, man, go ahead and try that.
It was a pleasure. Like, you're going to die, but it was totally cool to have met you. He pushed through it anyway, and it certainly could have killed him. Like, that's a fact. There's a shot. This could have, but it didn't kill him. Instead, he made history, and now he's like 97 years old, has a very active Twitter account with over 100,000 followers.
I like it.
And pretty recently, he posted something out there that basically said, what sound barrier?
Now, that's a flex.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? He basically said, you see what I did? I don't have these limitations. And I can tell you, as a real estate investor, from where you are to where you could be, if I could convince you on this show to take the massive action I know is the only thing separating you from the freedom you desire as a foreclosure investor is just massive action. If I can do that, I can help break you through your own sound barrier, but I can't fit. I want to. If I could reach this microphone right now and grab you on your iPhone and pull you over to your keyboard and make you do it, I'd make you do it, but I can't do that. Instead, I got to count on the sound of my voice to reach into your head right now. And I want you to just stop for a minute. Stop all the noise, all the distraction, and go, what is my sound barrier? What is stopping me? Is it your spouse? Is it your family? Is it money? I can tell you it's not money. Okay, it doesn't matter how much money you have. How much did it take, Jonathan, for you to start driving for dollars financially, for you to start going out there and just looking for deals in the market?
It took me $15 to fill up the rest of my tank.
Fill up the tank on the car. Right.
I did that.
And you were probably going to do that anyway, right? Because
yeah, you got to have gas. You
got to have
moving
gas.
around and stuff. So
really, it cost you nothing, right? It was just doing it.
Yeah, I just had to go do something.
You had to go take action.
Do what I said I was going to do.
Exactly right. Okay, and the difference between the highly successful people, aka one of my heroes, Mr. Chuck Yeager, and the people who are going to whimper for the rest of their lives are taking that first step of massive action. And the big part of the show, and this tonality to my voice has come from years of being able to, convincing myself, if nothing else, that unless I talk to people in a certain manner, unless I really force my conviction upon you, and I believe the reason why this show has done so well is because I talk in a tone where I'm convinced you can do it because I've done it myself. You see, 10, 15 years ago, I was you. I was wondering. I had a non-supportive spouse by my side. I had no money in the bank. I had a job that I hated. I had all the same problems. You're not, this is not exclusive to you. You're going through coronavirus. Hey, listen, man, we're all going through coronavirus right now.
Yep.
Right, so that can't be the excuse. The only thing stopping you from breaking your sound barrier is, wait for it, you.
Oh, come on now. Don't let that be the case.
And listen, if I didn't care, I wouldn't be on this show trying to convincing you otherwise. All you need is a little bit of information, and to get that information, you need to take some action. Okay? You cannot effectively be a real estate investor without access to big data, and you cannot get effective use to big data without getting the right tools, PropStream, to do it. And even if you do that, if you don't take massive action past getting your dealhunter.io application on your phone, if you don't go start looking for deals, you're going to be in exactly the spot you're sitting in right now 5 years from today going, I thought about getting in real estate once. Tough racket.
Yeah, man, I heard the market is really competitive right now.
And every time I hear that, I want to smack somebody. Ow! Because the market is competitive. So is the NFL. So is the NBA, if they were playing.
Hey, they are playing.
Okay, so they're playing. So we're good. We're back to
They're
competitive.
in the bubble, bro.
That's good.
I'm trying to go to the bubble.
They're playing in a bubble.
Wait, what? Never mind.
You can do this. You know what I mean? And I'm 100% convinced because whether you know that, I'll give you, here's a statistic, okay? How many houses do you think were sold, Jay, in the Denver market last year alone?
1,000. I'll just go with that. How many?
Wow. I mean, you couldn't be more wrong. That's okay. 50,000 transactions in the Denver market. And I'm actually underestimating a little bit. 50,000 homes changed hands in the Denver market. Okay.
I have no concept of numbers. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, it happens to the best of them. 50,000 homes. So let's assume for a minute, okay, that only 1% of them were deals. And I can tell you the percentage is substantially higher than that because if you can imagine the market as a bell curve, there must be a very high side of the market. We call it the moron factor, the guy who just pays too much for houses, right? Because he has enough money, he just doesn't care, right? And then there's the normal factor, which is the top of the bell curve, if you will, the average median price of homes in the neighborhood, right? What's left over is this subset of homes that went substantially below market, and out of those 50,000 homes, if only 1%, and I'm probably aiming low, there were 500 opportunities out there last year. Okay, now you're thinking, man, it's a huge market. 500 doesn't seem like that much. How many deals do you really need to do to be happy? Right? If you're making, let's just say, $5,000 a deal on a wholesale deal. Okay. On a flip deal, I target $20,000 to $25,000. Okay. But let's say you're not ready for flipping, you just want a wholesale. You're making $5,000 a deal. If you did 20 of them, would you be happy? That's $100,000 a year in income. Well, if you're currently listening to this while doing your job at Taco Bell, I'm guessing that you'd be ecstatic about switching up to $100,000 a year in income.
Yeah.
Right? If you're already making $250,000, maybe that didn't excite you that much. But I'm guessing, if you think that the median income in Denver is in the 70 range, I'm guessing just from my market that any increase in where you're at would probably be helpful. Why aren't you doing it? There's definitely enough, 50,000 options, right? Not all of them were deals, but if 1% were deals, that's 500. If 10% were deals, which I think is far more realistic, that's 5,000 opportunities out there for you to get a $5,000 paycheck. Right? All you have to do is go do it. And my job as your foreclosure deals coach is to take you from a state of mindset. I got a client, one of my coaching clients right now, military guy. We're going to have him on the show because I want you guys to meet him so you get an understanding of the mindset. But he came in knowing a decent amount about real estate, but not enough to do a deal because he couldn't pull the trigger. And within 30 days, we are under contract on his first deal, a property we're buying in the 280 range that's comfortably worth 340 to 350. He's super handy, so he's going to do a lot of the work himself, and he's going to crush it. I mean, crush it on this deal. And I'm not here just to toot my own horn, but I'm here to say the only thing stopping this client from making it to the next level was his mindset was off. He didn't believe that deals were actually out there. Okay, if you're listening to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast and you don't believe that there are deals out there, that is your sound barrier. That is your problem right now. There are, in fact, deals out there. You have to know how to find them, dealhunter.io, how to fund them, dealhunter.io, how to fix them, dealhunter.io, and how to flip them, Zillow. God, that hurt. Oh,
I thought you were going to say Deal Hunter.
So did I, but I didn't. Okay. So guys, listen, we do these mindset shows because these, in my opinion, as much as we discuss the intricacies of doing a real estate deal, the most value I can give to you as your foreclosure deals coach is I can get in your head and stop you from not taking action. I can force you from inaction to action. And if you're listening to this at this very moment and you're not sure what to do, that in of itself is the problem. There's plenty to do. You've got to get the software that you need. You've got to get out there and start looking for properties, and you've got to get educated via this show, via the countless episodes on YouTube University out there, via joining our Facebook group, the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders Group, and if you're ready for it, via getting professional coaching. I got professional coaching years ago because my sound barrier, my limiting factor was I didn't believe I could fund deals. Right? I didn't think anybody was going to give me money to do these deals. It turns out if you're actually finding deals, the money finds you.
Now, isn't that nice to hear?
Doesn't that make you feel a little bit better?
A little bit more confident.
Because you got to have that confidence, and it's my job to impart that wisdom upon you. I don't want to sell you coaching if you're not ready. I want you to get ready, and then when you're making money and you find out what your sound barrier is, whatever your limiting factor is at that moment, like Chuck Yeager had, when you figure out what it is, I want to help you to push through that. Right? And everybody differs a little bit. There's tons of educational resources out there. They'll get you going, but we're all going to find some kind of block along the way. And then at that point, you invest in additional resources to help you with that block. You might be incredible at studying human anatomy and be very good, but I'll be frank with you, until you go to medical school and get a license to be a doctor, you ain't operating on me.
Not at all.
You see what I'm saying? So wherever you have to, maybe you've got all the information you need, but if you need to get the license done, you got to go to medical school, right? So where you're at is what we determine first and foremost. And I'll be frank with you, not designed to be a sales pitch, but if you're ready, if you're at that point and you want to talk about your sound barrier for real estate investing and you think you're ready for coaching, I'd love to chat with you about it. We do 15-minute, we call them deal hunting calls, not strategy calls. There's too many strategies. I'm going to discuss, and we're going to go into your market using PropStream, find a deal in there, and then we're going to discuss what your reasoning is for not doing that deal. Right? And that by the time we figure it out, there's a good shot that very deal will be gone, but we will determine if you're right for the coaching product, if you're ready to take your career in investing to the next level. right? And that's the goal. That's my entire purpose for existing. I enjoy this broadcasting piece. I love talking to y'all week in, week out. I love that we have so many listeners and listenership has grown drastically, but I love nothing more than taking clients from inaction to action and actually getting paid to do a deal, because that was the most liberating experience of my life. You know, and passing that on to other people is my blessing to the rest of the world. It's my way of giving back. So if you're listening to this right now, if you're hearing the sound of my voice, you're one of our many listeners week in, week out, will you do me a huge favor? Will you reach out to me and let me know you're ready to have that conversation? Let's do a deal hunting call together. Right? Let's discuss those options. Maybe this is a good fit. Maybe it's not. I'm not looking to sell anybody anything. I am simply going to help those who are equipped, ready, and want to take that first step. Right? If that describes you, let's break through your sound barrier together. Let's shoot for the stars. Let's be Chuck Yeager. If you're not living a life that's worthy of writing a movie about, think about that. Think about that. Is that how you want this story to end? If you're content with flying below the radar for the rest of your existence, hey, I'm happy for you. I'm cool with it. Somebody's got to. We can't all be eagles, right? But that's not the people I want to work with. I want to take you from where you are to where you could be, which is, and listen, it's not just about the money, right? If you made $500,000 a year, how much would you give back to your church, where your kids go to school? Right? What kind of life could you provide for future generations? What kind of debt could you pay off? What could you do for your spouse? What could you do for your aging parents? Right? The world changes when you take money out of that factor. So listen, it seems like we're just talking about money. What we're talking about is life change. We're talking about becoming something more than what you are because you want to, not because, like it was in school, we were dragged to school and forced to do it. Now you should be old enough to decide this is what you want for yourself and break through that sound barrier that limits you right now. You know, that's what I want for you. That's what this show is all about. A big part of it's the mindset. And, you know, just Chuck Yeager's story always warmed my heart since I was a young kid. But now it energizes me because I look at my own limitations. And for a while, I wasn't sure that podcasting would work. I wasn't sure that this was the right medium for me. But now, as listenership grows and people are high-fiving me digitally all across cyberspace, I understand that this is my calling. Now let's find your calling together. What do you say?
Let's do it, guys.
So hop online, join the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders group, download dealhunter.io, get started on that, and let's make some moves, man. Because listen, talking about it is only fun for a while. I want to do some stuff, don't you?
I do. I'm doing it now.
Let's do it now. All right, listen, I'm not going to beat you up anymore. These coaching sessions we got to keep these fast-paced, otherwise you're all going to have a heart attack, and I'm going to have to deal with the body count, and it's so much work. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you joined us today. And I'm glad, and I hope, I pray, genuinely pray that I'm getting through to a couple of you. And I know I am because you're reaching out, you're talking to me, you're admitting it. Some of y'all are going, that Donny dude can't tell me what to do, bro. I'm going back to my Monte Carlo. You know, and I'm going to drive that. That shit's hot. I don't care. You can't talk to me, bro. You're not going to tell me what to do. That's cool. It's all good. I don't need all of y'all. I need the 1% out there that wants to change, that wants something bigger. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be part of that growth because that's what my organization does. So let's wrap up with that. Join the group, download the software, break through your sound barrier, find out what it is. Let's get through it together. I want to be a part of that growth with you. This is Donny Corum, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.
Want more of the Foreclosure Deals Coach? Like our Facebook page, Foreclosure Deals Coach, for the latest in real estate and foreclosure investing. Become a part of our community. Search Foreclosure Deals Coach on Facebook to join today.